In theaters now, or very soon from when I say this, is the new film from M. Night Shyamalan, the man who brought you Signs and The Sixth Sense and The Village and Old and Glass and Unbreakable and a lot of other movies. Lady in the Water. This is Knock at the Cabin. This is a horror thriller drama, a relatively small cast, and the story goes a little something like this. We have a same-sex couple, two dads, and their young adopted daughter. They have gone on vacation out to a cabin in the woods, which if you're a fan of horror movies is generally not a good idea. And there is the titular knock at the cabin. Dave Bautista, who you may know from from wrestling, I guess, or from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, or he's in Glass Onion recently. He and three other people show up, one of which is Rupert Grint, Ron Weasley from the Harry Potter movies. And these four people show up and they say, we've all had a vision, the end of the world is coming, and the only way for the end of the world to be averted is that one of you three, two dads and a daughter, needs to decide which of you will die, and you have to do it. We won't do it for you, we won't make you do it, but we're just really going to insist that you understand that bad things are going to happen, and everybody in the earth except you is going to die, and you'll be left to walk the wasteland unless you do this. And that's the story. That's the movie. That's what the trailer gives you, and the movie isn't a lot more than that. The movie, it basically sets up that premise and then goes into the whole, what would you do? If you were faced with this, what would you do? It sounds insane. Is this real? Are these crazy people? Do they have other motives? Are they faking what's going on? What's the deal here? And we find out as the characters in the film do. It goes pretty much linear, but it does have some flashbacks that show you how the two guys met, how they got the little girl, how they got to that spot in the cabin. But it's not heavily non-linear. Like, I'm not a fan at all. I call it a hack screenwriting tactic these days, where movie starts with a bang, starts with something that gets your attention, and then it cuts to black with a title that says 3 days earlier, and then you have to basically wait to get back to that point in the movie. It's annoying, and this movie doesn't really do that, and I appreciated that. The cast is really good all the way through. Little girl is great. Bautista's pretty good. It's just, so we saw it at a preview the other night. As I record this, the movie still isn't coming out for several days, and didn't know if the movie would have a big twist. That's the thing for Shyamalan, is that he has always had like a twist in his movies, and I've said to many people when I talk about him, I wonder if he feels hobbled by that. Like, George Romero made a horror movie or two that found great success, and that's pretty much all he was like allowed to make for the rest of his career, pretty much. Like, Wes Craven was able to branch off and do Turbulence, which is a thriller more than horror, and he was able to do Music from Another Room, and Sam Raimi has done a lot of things that aren't horror, but Romero always was sort of pigeonholed as a horror director, and I was wondering, what would he do if he didn't have to do that? And I feel the same about Shyamalan. Told you that story to tell you this one. I wonder if what kind of movie Shyamalan would make. Maybe he hasn't, I just don't know about it. What kind of movie would Shyamalan make if he was able to just make whatever he wanted and not feel like that it has to be a horror movie, or it has to be a thriller, or it has to have this twist at the end? And so the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, well, his movies always have a twist, so everything I'm seeing and experiencing, it can't be the real deal. Like, it's at some point it's going to tell me this, what I was seeing was really something else. I won't tell you whether that happens or not, but it is almost a distraction with the Shyamalan movie, because I find myself not trying to outsmart the film, but I'm trying to find the clues as to what's really going on. And there wasn't a ton to this film. It really is pretty much straight ahead linear. It is pretty much, what you see is what you get. I thought it was well made. The acting in it was good. The drama and tension was really well done. Are these people going to get away? What's going to happen? Who will survive and what will be left of them? It didn't blow me away. I think it was a decent matinee. This will be a film that will play fine on TV. This is a film probably a lot of people who are casual moviegoers will like. If you're somebody who doesn't like Shyamalan, I don't know that will really change anything for you. But I thought it was decent for what it was. So, not a glowing review. When I walked out, I kind of was just like, it was okay. It was decent. Maybe it was a little disappointment in me not being surprised that it wasn't any more than the trailer showed me. And it's not the movie's fault. The trailer is something that's done separately by other people and to get butts in seats. So at any rate, in theaters now from M. Night Shyamalan is knock. Oh, and I will say one more thing. It's very PG-13. It looks like a lot of very gruesome things are going to happen. They never do. Everything happens off screen. So this is the movie you could take younger people to. It's just that and if you're kind of a skittish, gross out person, it insinuates things that are really horrible, but you don't actually ever see them. In theaters now, Knock at the Cabin.